Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, and to your Vice Chairman, Senator Leahy, thank you. For those of you who have supported this somewhat historic vote, I might add, to have a unanimous vote out of the full committee on the Interior Appropriations, this is significant. So as you're describing what you supported today, I think you can say clearly this was a vote to support clean air, clean water, our lands, and our people. The administration's request for the 2019 Interior Bill is approximately $28.3 billion. This is a roughly 22.5% reduction from FY18 enacted. The subcommittee's 302B allocation for FY19 is $35.85 billion. This is $600 million more than last year, and I appreciate the chairman and the vice chairman for providing the subcommittee with a generous allocation, which was critical to assembling a bipartisan bill. The additional funding allowed us to provide program increases that were compulsory. We had to address them. This was an additional $500 million for fire suppression, an additional $109 million for contract support costs in Indian country, as well as $115 million for staffing costs associated with new health care facilities that are operated by IHS or tribes under compact agreements. In our bill, we adopt a similar approach to the FY18 Interior Bill by rejecting unwarranted decreases that are proposed in the budget and making investments in our highest priorities, especially infrastructure investments for the land management agencies, Indian country, and wastewater and drinking water improvements. We built upon the $150 million increase provided for the National Park Service construction program. This is the largest percentage increase ever for this program, and we maintained the increase from FY18 by providing an additional $5 million. So we're taking care of our treasures in the Park Service. In the two main agencies that deliver services for the Indian community, the BIA and IHS, Indian Health Service, we restored proposed cuts of over $1 billion in critical program funding. We increased funding for the IHS Facilities Program for construction, maintenance, and sanitation facilities improvements. We provide substantial funding for the BIA to help with construction of Indian schools, irrigation systems, and public safety facilities. For both accounts, we provide the fully estimated level of contract support costs and maintain an indefinite appropriation account structure so that if these costs are higher than we had estimated, other programs aren't tapped to pay for them. This is something that had been going on over the years, and we need to end that practice. In the Indian Health Service, we also provided $10 million in critical new funding to provide grants to tribes for combating the opioid crisis. For wildland fire management programs, we've provided a total of $4.35 billion for the Department of the Interior and the Forest Service. This fully funds the 10-year average for firefighting costs, as well as providing $900 million in additional suppression funds above the 10-year average based on recent catastrophic seasons and latest forecasting models. So many of my colleagues from the West particularly continue to be concerned about how we address the rising cost of fire suppression, and we fairly address that here in our measure. We provide $425 million for the Land and Water Conservation Fund. This is a priority for many. This is equal to the enacted level, and of this amount, $124 million is for the National Park Service stateside program. There's also additional funding for recreational access and the American Battlefield Program. We took a common sense approach to the EPA's budget. We focused resources on programs that do concrete things to improve the quality of the environment for the public. We provide additional funding to states who have delegated responsibility for environmental programs. We provide slightly more than last year's level for the Clean Water and Drinking Water State Revolving Funds, which build critical water infrastructure in communities across the country. The WIFIA program, which leverages federal funds for water infrastructure projects, receives $63 million. And when used in combination with the SRFs, the bill provides the EPA with a powerful suite of tools to improve the quality of life for people around the country. As far as PILT funding, payment in lieu of taxes, we provide $500 million. This is the fully estimated amount needed for this program in FY19. This maintains the committee's commitment to fully meeting the needs of local communities for county roads, public safety, and schools through PILT. Unlike in previous years, The bill does not include any new policy provisions that were not in the FY18 enacted bill. And I recognize that as we have worked with Chairman Shelby, Vice Chairman Leahy, and my ranking member Udall, that this allowed us to assemble a package that both sides can support, as we have seen, with the ultimate goal here of being able to take this bill to the Senate floor. And as you note, both Mr. Chairman and Vice Chairman, we haven't had this with the Interior Appropriations bill. We haven't been able to advance this to the Senate floor since 2010. I met with my group of interns this morning and I said, okay, kids, that's like when you started first grade, we weren't able to move a bill like this until you passed out of middle school. That gets your attention. 8 years is a long time. This was not easy to do. I think we all recognize that with as much good that is contained in this bill, there was a lot that was left on the floor by members on both sides of the aisle, and some will be very disappointed that we weren't able to include their provisions in the bill. I can assure you that there's many issues that Alaskans would have liked to have seen included. They're not in here. I know my ranking member, Senator Udall, has issues that he would have liked to include that are not in the bill today. But while there may be a little bit of disappointment with some of the more parochial agenda items, I do believe that what we have produced is a balanced bill, a fair bill that avoids issues that would make this a vote in this committee a partisan one, and we were able to successfully avoid that. I so support what you have done, Mr. Chairman, along with your Vice Chairman, to return us to regular order where we can vote appropriations bills out of committees, do so on a bipartisan basis, and then take them to the floor. So I look forward to moving this Interior bill through the process in a fashion that really allows all the other members of the Senate, not just those of us that are sitting around this table here today, to have an opportunity to debate the bills and to offer amendments. So I thank you for urging us in this process, getting us back on track, and I particularly want to acknowledge and thank my ranking member on the committee, Senator Udall, for the good work that you have done, our teams working together to move through some issues that can be contentious, that can be very complicated. But the work that I think we have been able to do demonstrates to others that you can sort through the tough stuff, figure out the areas where we can come together and move forward. So I appreciate you moving forward with me, your team led by Rachel and Ryan and Melissa, working with Leif and Emmy and Nana and Chris to get where we are today. So I thank you for that, and I look forward to advancing this through the floor. So I thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes my opening remarks, and I look forward to that of my friend and my colleague, Senator Udall.